The grants shall not exceed $10,000 for every job projected to be created by the business within 3 years after approval of the grant, and it shall not exceed $2 million or 50% of the total project cost, whichever is less. Eligibility: a business, economic development organization, and political subdivisions. Terms: a matching investment requirement of at least $1 for every $1 of program funds awarded. Energy funding programs. Well, before I get into that, I guess, has everybody here heard of the CFA? Has there anybody not heard of the CFA that just, what it is the CFA is appointed, it's Commonwealth Financing Agency. There's appointees from the legislature and the governor on that. We have a local gentleman that's on the CFA here in the name of Austin Burke. He sits on the Commonwealth Financing Agency. They meet once a month to go over all of these grants. It's highly competitive. I can tell you, even though it sounds like a lot of money that we have in a state of a little over 12 million people, it is a highly competitive program. So that's why I would always ask you to reach out and work with a guy like Steve Yoakum, because he is a guy that can really help define your strategy and where you want to go. The next meeting of the Commonwealth Financing Agency is in September. I believe it's September the 8th, and then it's every month afterwards. And they are set up differently, so if you do have an application to put in, you have to get that application put in pretty quickly. I believe it's 1 or 2 months before they'll actually consider your application. The energy funding programs. For those of you that have maybe have already committed or done some of these work, there is some tax credits available. And 15% of the net cost of alternative energy production projects located in the Commonwealth. There's a limit of $1 million per taxpayer, and $5 million for this program for the year 2009. What I can tell you is that is something that we already did in last year's budget. And moving forward in the tax credit program, it would depend on what we do in this year's budget. Pennsylvania's Sunshine Solar Program is $100 million in incentives to help fund solar, electric, and solar hot water projects for homeowners and small businesses. Funding will be in the form of a rebate, first come, first served basis to approved applicants. Past funding programs: Small Business Energy Efficiency Grant Program provided a 25% reimbursement grant up to a maximum of $25,000. Small Business Advantage Grant Program, that average grant ended up being about $5,500 per grant. And we have the PETA, the Pennsylvania Energy Development Authority, and I believe their next meeting is in November. And what we are doing is, thanks to I saw Congressman Kanjorski here, what we are doing is taking a lot of the federal stimulus funds that they provided us, and they give it to the state, and we provide to these agencies and put out the application, and hopefully we can get people to move ahead with stimulating the economy and reducing energy at the same time. The Pennsylvania Energy Harvest Grant is the average grant was about $200,000. The Pennsylvania Conservation Works Program amounts up to $250,000 with an exemption for the multi-municipal projects, which may request up to $500,000. Upcoming grants. This is something that you may all be interested in. We have until, I believe it's August 24th, which is coming up pretty quickly, to submit comments. You can go onto the website at www.recovery.pa.gov. Under the heading, Where's Your Money? And then by clicking on Energy Independence, you can submit comments about the guidelines. And then that will help them form the applications about going forward. So that is something that if you want to have a general idea, we are looking for input from people from in the community on ways to make sure that we do the best and the most appropriate job on this. What it is Pennsylvania Green Energy Works Program. It's aimed at reducing energy costs for consumers, businesses, and local governments. Funded through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, Pennsylvania is receiving almost $100 million, $99.6 million, which will be invested through the Pennsylvania Green Works and other energy grants projects. What I can tell you under that is they have to be shovel-ready projects. Obviously, the goal was to move ahead and get the economy stimulated. I think the plan is working. From all the best estimates that I see is we are looking at a turnaround in the economy. But what we do want to make sure, and where this is a promising industry, is with rate caps coming off. And I can tell you, I hear it from the industrial end and from just the everyday people with the households. It's not going to be easy when you get hit with a 30% or greater rate increase. All that is due from the deregulation. It's deregulation happened before I got into office, but what I can tell you is I remember, because we do have a small business, I remember, and a lot of you probably remember this, it was about 10 years ago when we deregulated, all these companies came in and said, we're going to lower your energy cost, we're going to do this, but really it kind of fizzled out because nobody can compete. Well, now the idea is those rate caps come off at the end of the year. And we're still going to see an increase. But what we hope to do is what we've seen out in Western Pennsylvania, whose rate caps came off 2 years ago, is the fact that we hope there will be more competition. And I think the only way we're going to do that is by investing in alternative energy projects, and that will force everybody to stabilize the market. But I would like to thank you for your time, and I would urge you to apply for funding and to visit that website, because we really would take your comments into the energy grants. And I'd like to thank you. Is there any questions at all? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.